So, hello there everyone and welcome, it is Niran here, and today it is time for episode number 2 of our Alfa Romeo 2018 mod Motorsport Manager career. Bit of a mouthful, I'll try and work on that being more concise for the next episode, but we are ready for round, well, we're not ready, we're going to be getting into round number 2 at some point in Dubai, but we've got a lot of work to do, and if you're looking for spoilers or you're trying to avoid spoilers, then, well, you need to look away now, because we had an unbelievable first episode, an unbelievable debut to this series, where we somehow frauded our way to a podium with Sergei Sirotkin, with not only the second worst car on the grid, but the worst driver lineup on the grid. We'll be getting up into the driver situation after in a couple minutes from now, in a little bit, but obviously reflecting on that first Grand Prix. If we take a look at the standings, you can see Sergei Sirotkin here, behind only Hamilton and the first race winner, Sebastian Vettel. We obviously managed to use the rain to our advantage to basically give Sergei Sirotkin a one-stop in comparison to most people around him, but fair play to the Russian. He beat the likes of Daniel Ricciardo and Stoffel Van Dorn somehow, seemingly on just pure pace alone. Obviously, we spoke a little bit about Lance Stroll there and about the driver situation, and I basically put a poll to you guys about what I should do with the driver situation, because we have the worst driver lineup on the entire grid and something really needs to be done. Obviously, we have Robert Kubica as a backup driver, which is all well and good, and we could use him and put him in the side, and put him in the team. I'm used to doing FIFA stuff, and we could put him in the team. But a lot of you guys were actually wanting me to look for Pascal Wehrlein, and we actually do have him here on our shortlist, or on our favourites list. The problem with him is, I don't actually think he's that much better than Stroll or Sirotkin. I mean, if we look at our drivers here, yeah, he's literally on par with Sirotkin, and that's all well and good, but I don't know if I'd see the point. I mean, if we take a look, I guess, what is he? He's in a contract. We'd have to pay 600k for a driver who is basically just as good as Sirotkin. So what I'm tempted to do is actually just promote Kubica into the starting lineup. Niran, you're not recording a FIFA video. Get your stuff together, man. Right. I was tempted to promote Robert Kubica into a full driver's role to replace Stroll, and then put Wehrlein in as a test driver, because I just don't see the point, particularly, in promoting Wehrlein to being a main driver when we've literally got Kubica here, who's better than everybody. So, I mean, I don't know, he's not going to improve, for sure, but it might be worth swapping him in for Stroll and then bringing in Wehrlein, who will improve much more than Stroll, as a reserve driver. I want to replace Stroll. So this is what we're going to do, realistically. I don't see the point in bringing Wehrlein in as a main driver straight away when he's only as good as Sergei Sirotkin right now. So what would make more sense is to promote Kubica to a main driver role and then just sack Stroll and put Wehrlein in as a reserve driver. That would make more sense to me. So that's what we're going to do. So everybody's been wanting Kubica back in F1. It's going to happen. Robert, mate, you're promoted. You're a main driver. I feel bad because Stroll actually did a decent job. Wehrlein's not interested, ladies and gentlemen. He's only just signed a new contract. So, unfortunately, I think we're just going to have to sack off bringing in someone new for now. We could bring, if you want anyone else, because I know the comment section was mainly dominated by Pascal Wehrlein here, but he's unfortunately not interested in joining. But if there's anyone else sort of on his scouting list, obviously not Hulkenberg and Perez, they're more future signings, but someone like Nick De Vries or George Russell or anyone else here out of the younger guys, or more drivers out of here, then let me know if you want to see them as a test driver in this series. Obviously, it wouldn't be hugely realistic to get someone like Giovinazzi, who's part of obviously the Ferrari Academy, but if there's more Mercedes-based drivers or just youngsters anyway that you would like to see be given a chance as a reserve driver, then just let me know down in the comments section below and I'll try and sort something out. From that point, we need to work on the car. We've sorted out the driver situation, but we now need to work on the car. Improving parts, I think it's just because they're still fixing the car at the moment after the last Grand Prix. But I'd be tempted to design another new part, to be honest with you. What else could do with some... I mean, everything could do with some work, really. Yeah, high-speed corners. Let's work on that, then. 25 plus on the max, so obviously this number here, 839, would go up to 864. it would mean the current value of it wouldn't change and the reliability would be horrendous, so we'd need to work on improving it after building this specific part. That's probably the better thing to choose. So we're going to improve our rear wing now, our rear wing component. It's going to cost us 550,000. The reliability will be shocking, so it probably won't be ready for the next Grand Prix in Dubai. But after that, once we've improved the reliability and then the performance on it a little bit as well, hopefully it will be worth using. So we'll build that part. That'll cost us 550k. And in terms of performance, the biggest gap really is between front wing, the base stat, and then the potential stat. So we might as well improve some reliability there. Robert Kubica says, can you design me a new front wing? Chatted to Sergei, and we're both having a hard time when we hit the low speed corners. I realise that, mate. To be honest, there's a lot of departments where the rest of the field are ahead of us, and you know what? I feel your pain, but maybe we'll go for a new front wing after that. That is probably the lowest thing after high-speed corners. So, you know what, Robert? Yeah, you can have a new front wing. You can have a new front wing after this, but we'll set that in motion after the rear wing is finished, which, speaking of which, Paddy Lowe has confirmed it is done. Beautiful stuff. Right, so we need to improve the reliability, really, on this for a start. So if we check out the car, and then we go on to improve parts, obviously, I'm not going to... Actually, yeah, that's on 79%. That's usable. Right, let's take resources off that, and then put some resources on the rear wing, and it might just get to a relatively decent level before the Grand Prix, and we might actually be able to use it. So we've built a couple of new parts, and we'll see whether they are ready for the second Grand Prix in a moment, but it is now time to get into the second Grand Prix of the season at Dubai. It's track A. What that means, I don't know. It looks very long. I think it's a 2-minute lap time. 8 super softs, 4 softs, and 3 mediums for each driver. That's all well and good. And then in terms of part fitting, we've got quite a few new ones to attach to the car. So obviously we've got the first set of components that we built on this car, which is the brakes. That at the moment is towards Sirotkin. I want them to have quite equal cars. I don't want Kubica to have a ridiculously good car in comparison to Sirotkin, because I want to know when Sirotkin's outperforming him. Otherwise, it's going to be extremely difficult for him to do so. Engine, front wing, and gearbox are identical, but we've got a new rear wing, which is 69% reliable, and I mean, the other ones, the original ones are 70%, so we might as well stick this on one of the cars. Let's give this to Robert Kubica, and then I think we'll give the suspension to Kubica as well. But then we'll give the suspension with the better reliability to Sirotkin. Let's get into the race, ladies and gents. I mean, I can't lie to you. I don't think we can realistically expect what happened in Australia, but here's to hoping, eh? We might manage to pull off an absolute madness. You never know. First of all, though, before we can think about the race or qualifying, we've got to jump into practice and get that vital knowledge on the car. And obviously, naturally, we're going to choose Kubica and Sirotkin. We're going to skip ahead. We'll bring both of them in because we don't really care about this lap particularly. We just want the knowledge that they're going to get, and then they'll come back in. Kubica's back. What's he going to say about his setup? Sirotkin's also in. Not too bad as far as Kubica is concerned. A little bit all over the place as far as Sirotkin is concerned. So let's sort out Sirotkin first. 77% in terms of optimum balance. That's sort of what we're looking at rather than the faces here. We're just looking at this out of 100%. That's quite low. You want it really more like 90 or 95. To be honest with you, when it comes to a setup on, the first time at a circuit in a series, it's a complete guessing game as to what direction they want everything to go in. But hopefully everyone is fine with what they have. Sirotkin says the handling feels a little bit worse now, so we've gone the wrong direction with that. That's very poor now, and the speed balance is okay. So everything we did, we need to go the opposite direction, basically, with Sirotkin, and it's the same with Kubica as well. We don't really have the Midas touch when it comes to the setup, clearly. Just realised as well, we're gaining knowledge all the time as well on the soft tyres, so we're up to level 1 on soft tyres and race trim, whilst we've been working on that one. As far as Sirotkin is concerned, the handling is still only okay, but speed balance and downforce is excellent. So once again, we're going to have to work with Sirotkin. Kubica is fine. His setup is absolutely A-okay. That's all good. 98%. Have that, mate. Let's go for that. Let's go right on the end of the green bar. And then in terms of the ratio, gear ratio, let's bring that back to there. Cool. Right. So Kubica can now go out on his own. He's got his setup sorted. That's absolutely fine. And in terms of knowledge, we are now very close to race trim level 2 and soft tyres level 2. And there you can see it is done. Sirotkin is now back in and he is finally okay with his setup. So let's get him out I'm going to get him out on a different set of tyres, actually, whilst Kubica's running around on the softs. I don't think we need both drivers on those. I'm also going to get him on qualifying trim as well. Actually, no, we'll carry on with race trim, but we'll do 4 laps. I don't think we'll need the full 8. And we'll stick him on a set of super softs and try and get some knowledge on those whilst Kubica's running around. Here's how the knowledge is looking. We're on to level 2 on super softs and qualifying, and we've just achieved level 3 on the super softs. These two are now both coming back in, and I don't think they'll get qualifying trim before they enter the pit lane, which is slightly frustrating. Let's take a look at what the potential strategy could be in this race. So it is, I think, what was it? It's a 24 lap race. The super softs go 10 to 12, and the softs go 14 to 16. So we're not going to need the mediums. We're not going to need the mediums in the race at all. So practice is done. We've acquired all the knowledge we can do on the super softs, and the mediums, and also quali and race trim. You can see Kubica and Sirotkin end up 11th and 15th overall. Not bad, pace-wise. Kubica on super softs beating a McLaren and a Renault and the Haas of Grosjean as well. Yeah, decent pace. Obviously, we brought major upgrades to this Grand Prix. New set of suspension on Kubica's car, new rear wing on Kubica's car, and also some improvements to the, I think it was the brakes as well, or another part of the car. So yeah, overall the car's a lot better than it was in Australia, and that seems to be showing in the practice times. Hopefully though, it's going to show in the qualifying times, because it's time for the Saturday event, and we are getting ready for Q1. Obviously, we want the super softs and the qualifying trim knowledge. That would make a lot of sense, realistically. Obviously, there's no chance of rain, so it's all really about just getting a banker lap in, trying to find some space, and then trying to leave it as late as possible to get in that final lap at the end. So, obviously, it's a 2-minute lap as well, so we need to bear this in mind. So, he's going out on the track. He's a bit close. That McLaren's a bit close to him. And then we see Sirotkin here is in the garage. Let's wait for, I think that's a Sauber to go through. So we're going to send Sirotkin out now as well on a new set of super softs. Auto on for Kubica because I cannot be bothered to do that. And Sirotkin, he's got a Mercedes very close. Hopefully the Mercedes will just overtake him and then just drive away. Kubica's got overheated and good on his preparation. So we're going to watch him. We'll watch him in ×4 as he does his lap. Overheated and perfect for Sirotkin, not too bad. I think he's in a bit more clean air, or he's got a better chance of clean air throughout the entire lap than Kubica does. But the pole only 2/10 off in the first sector, not too bad at all as the track grip improves. Around the final corner, he's been holding up Stoffel Van Dorn. Kubica comes across the line and goes P6. Obviously not too many people have done time, so that's not that impressive. Sirotkin goes P9, just behind his more experienced teammate. In the shake-up of things, you can see Alonso there in the McLaren. We've got the Haas of Grosjean, Hulkenberg, Raikkonen, Sainz, Van Dorn. Then it's Kubica and Sirotkin. But we factor in ahead of both the Force Indias, both the Toro Rossos, and both the Saubers, which means we are currently, as things stand, going through into Q2, which really is the aim, the realistic aim. We've got just under 4 minutes of the session to go. It takes 2 minutes to do an out lap, or probably 2.5. Actually, no, 2 minutes, yeah, because it's only a 1 minute 38 lap time, so we need to allow for 2 minutes, really. Let's allow one more car to go through. I don't know what car that is, realistically, but... Oh, hello, we've got another Toro Rosso coming through. Right, let's go now. We need to send one of these guys out. So let's send Sirotkin out with 2 minutes and 13 to go the session. That should be enough to do one more lap time, realistically, in this session, and we'll send Kubica out pretty much immediately afterwards. They shouldn't really get in each other's way, but obviously I want to make sure that they're both getting the chance to go out and do their lap times. So, clean air for both Kubica and Sirotkin. Nobody around for Kubica, and nobody around for Sirotkin either. I think we'll be the final guys across the line. Sirotkin starts his lap, and as you can see, Kubica started his lap with 13 seconds of the session to go, so we've timed that very well. It's time for Sirotkin now to do his lap. Hopefully he can go quicker on a grippier track and on fresher tyres as well. But it's a white first sector, and the same for Kubica as well. Sirotkin isn't going to improve, but Kubica might well do. He crosses the line, only 13th for Kubica, but it is an improvement in time. Lewis Hamilton was your fastest man in the session. Time though to do it all over again with Kubica and Sirotkin as we now enter Q2. Kubica in his first Grand Prix race weekend for 9 years. Once again, he's got a McLaren as a chaser, but he should be able to stay ahead. Oh my god, I left auto off. Christ above. We just about survived. We get overheated and good. Didn't quite realise I left those two on. Kubica's got a McLaren all over the back of him. Meanwhile, for Sirotkin, if we slow this lap time down just a little bit to come to the end, Sirotkin is 7 tenths down on the best lap time by Sebastian Vettel, which would put him significantly slower than Alonso, just a little bit behind Hülkenberg. And there you can see he's a second down overall. Kubica's going to come across the line now, and he is quicker than Sirotkin, but not only that, quicker than Hülkenberg and Van Dorn as well. Very good lap time. So he's down to 8th place as Grosjean and Verstappen go quicker, now down to P9 as Bottas improves as well. So he's right on the cusp, but quicker than Magnussen as well. We'll wait for the Renault to go, and then we'll send the first driver out. This seemed to work quite well last time, going last. So Sirotkin's also going to go on to a new set of the Super Softs. He should make it and cross the line comfortably. He's got 2 minutes to spare before he runs out of time. Auto is on, checking that this time. Kubica again, only white on his first sector, so not improving at all. And Sainz Jr.'s improving, Perez is improving, Van Dorn is improving. So he's under threat is Kubica, and Van Dorn goes P4. What a lap time from him. Kubica's right on the edge. Sainz doesn't improve, and Kubica stays in P10. Sirotkin with a really poor lap, unfortunately, to finish things off, means he loses out to Sergio Perez in the Force India. So he'll start 15th on the grid for the second Grand Prix in a row. But for the second Grand Prix in a row as well, we've got a car into Q3 against all the odds. Here we are once again into Q3. Kubica's the only one we've got to worry about, obviously, because Sirotkin is out of the session. Kubica's actually had a really good first sector compared to the fastest one so far, which is Vettel, but Hamilton's just blitzed all of them. Kubica's still only 2.5 tenths down, though. If we skip this into times 4, Vettel's gone fastest with a 1:38.9. Kubica's going to come across the line. What can the pole do? It's P3. That's quicker than Kimi Räikkönen in the Ferrari. Behave, Robert. Behave yourself. He's faster than Kimi Räikkönen in the Ferrari and Stoffel Van Dorn in the McLaren. That is unreal. He's slipped down to P7 because Ricciardo, Verstappen and Alonso have gone faster. Right, time for Kubica to exit the garage. He's followed a bit closer than I would have liked by, I think that's a Red Bull. Obviously, we've sent Kubica out a little bit earlier this time. We were sending the 2 Williams cars out right at the end of the session, instead of a little bit more towards the middle last time. So he's not going to be the last driver across the line this time, but hopefully it's still a good lap time. Can he at least improve? It doesn't look as if he's going to. Already 3.5 tenths down. Grosjean is on a personal best, but again doesn't go quicker. So Kubica does hold on to P8. Still a very, very good session for Robert Kubica. Best session of the lot, though, goes to Lewis Hamilton, who grabbed pole. Making it into Q3 itself was a massive feat, but he's done really well to then beat Van Dorn and Grosjean in that session. Sirotkin is pretty much where you would expect him to be in P15, so can't argue with that. So we're back once again, and it's time for the race. Now, Sirotkin is going to start on the mediums. That would be a travesty. He's going to start on the softs. And he's going to go for about 15 or 16 laps on those, and then do a stint of 8 laps, or he doesn't even have to do that, actually. He's only got to do 14 laps, and then he can do a stint of 10 on the Super Soft at the end. So he's got a pretty easy strategy, to be honest with you, because he's starting outside of the top 10. We're going to put auto on the ERS, because I was told to do that in the comments, but the 5 lights are on, and they're now off for the Dubai Grand Prix. Kubica gets a really good launch, and he's ahead of Fernando Alonso in the McLaren off the line, and he's now attacking Verstappen, and he's through up into P6. Great start from Robert Kubica on those super soft tyres. Not a great start in comparison for Sergei Sirotkin, but he's just dived up the inside of a Toro Rosso and a Force India to take 15th place back, which is where he started. Unfortunately, he's now lost that position again to Ocon, and he's defending from the other Frenchman, Pierre Gasly. So Sirotkin's in a little bit of a cluster at the moment, but he's managed to get back ahead of Ocon. So he's back up to where he started, is Sergei Sirotkin. Decent enough first lap from him, but a great first lap for Robert Kubica, who I think I'm tempted to already drop down into neutral, because he needs to conserve if he's going to make even remotely make a one-stop work. So we'll try that with him. But he's in 6th place, and actually, whilst I wasn't looking, Sirotkin's made a couple of places up as well. Meanwhile, Sirotkin in P13, he's just jumped ahead of Alonso, who's had an appalling start, actually, from the top 10, and he's also passed the other Force India of Sergio Perez, so worth noting that one. I need to get the tyre temps for Kubica up a little bit, actually, so I'm going to have to push him just a little more. Sirotkin is looking good at the moment and is pushing, and he's battling the maestro himself, Fernando Alonso. Meanwhile, for Kubica, tyre life-wise, he's not looking too bad. in comparison to some of the other guys ahead of him. Behind him, though, Magnussen and Sainz have got weirdly very, very fresh tyres, so he's looking not great in comparison to those guys, but he's holding his own in P6, just ahead of the Haas driver at the moment, and not too far behind Ricciardo and Raikkonen. Really, really good job on his debut. First race weekend, remember, for 9 years for Robert Kubica. Meanwhile, Sergei Sirotkin is currently battling Max Verstappen. How was the Red Bull driver ended up down in P12? Personal best for Sergei Sirotkin as he chases the Dutchman down. But that is an appalling start for Verstappen. Worth noting, strategy-wise, Sirotkin is the second highest of the soft runners at the moment. Nico Hülkenberg in the Renault is the highest of those. Might be worth dropping Sirotkin down, actually, thinking about it. He's been pushing for 2 laps straight. So Sirotkin and Kubica both on backup, but just burning a little bit of fuel still, both of them. 44%. As I mentioned, really getting to I think lap 7 would be a possibility to then go on to soft. We pretty much have to conserve most of the stint, I feel. If we were going to make that one happen. We'll go on to conserve just because the tyre temp's getting a little bit low for Kubica. Meanwhile, Kubica's on 38%. That's significantly better than Raikkonen ahead of him and about equal to Vettel and Bottas and Hamilton really as well. So not too bad. Raikkonen's going to be pitting, so he's either going to have to go into mediums or he's going to be doing a 2-stop realistically in this race. To be honest, I don't think a 2-stop's going to work around here. Sirotkin's obviously up to P12 after that pit stop for Raikkonen, and Van Dorn is just ahead of him on incredibly warm tyres, so might be worth Sirotkin just stepping it up into neutral for a hot second, and we'll drop Kubica down into low just to conserve a little bit of his fuel, because he's got quite a high fuel delta at the moment. So lap number 7, he is going to come in for a new set of the soft tyres, and then we'll try and go to the end with him. Now they can do 14 to 16 laps, so he'd be coming in and he'd have to go from 8 to 24. That would be 16 laps, so it's going to be a stretch, and he's going to have to conserve the majority of the stint. I'm just tempted to see whether he can go any longer. At all. We'll keep an eye on his tyre life on this next lap, but I'd really be tempted to just get him 1 lap longer than he's going at the moment. Just 1 singular lap longer, see if he can go to the end of lap 8. We'll keep an eye on his tyre life, but Magnussen is all over the back of him. I feel like if he goes 1 more lap, he'll hit the cliff. Ricciardo and Vettel are both pitting. I need to make this decision right now. What did he have at the start? He had 27% wear at the start of the lap, so realistically, at best, he's going to have 17%. I think I might try and go 1 lap longer. I think it's just about worth the hit, because I think he'll be okay to then go to the end on the soft. So we're going to go 1 more lap with Kubica. It's a risk. I cannot lie to you, but on this game, you usually tend to gain quite a lot from just pushing into the pit lane. So we'll go overtake and attack mode on Kubica, and hopefully he can just not hit the cliff. Hopefully he can stay within sort of like above 14 or 15%. In terms of around the track at the moment, Kubica's quite a long way. It's quite a long track. He might start feeling the pain in the second half of this lap, to be fair, but regardless of that, we're going to keep him pushing on. He's done well enough in the first half of the lap for him not to look as if he's going to be too affected. So Kubica's going to come in, he's going to stick a set of the soft tyres on, and then he's going to be going to the end on this one. Recharge battery, we're not going to do that at all, and we're going to go for a fast pit stop and then just risk the mistake. So time for Kubica to push in. It looks as if he's being a bit hurt now. Yeah, he's lost it right at the end. It's not too bad, though. It's not too bad. He only hit the cliff with 3 corners of the lap to go. So it's not the end of the world, but it looks as if Sainz Jr. is pitting as well. So he's now lost out, and we're now going to have to hope our pit crew do the bits in the pit lane. Bit frustrating, but I mean, you know, I'd rather him lose that time now in the pit lane and then be in a bit more of a comfortable position at the end. So Kubica's in. Looks like a very good pit stop from him, and he's right out behind Sainz Jr. So good stuff from him. Magnussen actually carried on 1 more lap, so if we can push just for a little bit on this lap, maybe for the first 3/4 of the lap, we might be able to get a decent undercut on Kevin Magnussen. Meanwhile, Sergei Sirotkin, in a bit of a world of his own at the moment. I'd ideally quite like him to push away a little bit from Esteban Ocon, but I mean, if we look at his tyre life, it's not that great. 42% is not good at all. Like, that's really not great. These tyres are meant to last, what, 14 laps? I know he's been pushing a little bit, but that's not great. Maybe we need to pull Kubica off that pretty much immediately. He needs to get to lap 14 at the very, very least, and he's already on 41% wear, so Sirotkin not looking ideal in terms of tyre life right now. As far as the race is concerned, Magnussen has stayed out. Magnussen's doing bits on these super soft tyres. He's making them last. Hulkenberg's on the softs. Sirotkin is on the same strategy as Hulk. Ocon is on the mediums. And then we've got Gasly, Leclerc, Hartley. Bottas is currently in the net lead of the race, and he's on the soft, whereas Hamilton elected for mediums. Vettel elected for worn mediums, which is a very interesting strategy. So he's definitely doing a two-stop, like his teammate Raikkonen on the super softs. Ricciardo might make the softs last. Sainz is also on a worn set of mediums, so he's definitely not making it to the end either, and I don't think Fernando Alonso will either. Sirotkin has really got to make these last a couple more laps. I think he can do that, actually, thinking about it. Because I mean, if we just like hover over these, yeah, they can do 12 laps, but I'd ideally rather them only have to do 10 at 11 maximum. So if we can try and get him to lap 13, that would be nice. The end of lap 13, but it might end up being the end of lap 12, to be honest. Hulkenberg has not really made these tyres last as long as they should. He's into the pit lane on 14% tyre wear. So he hasn't really made this work. What's he going to go on to? He goes on to a new set of softs. Maybe you don't have to run both compounds. I haven't actually checked the rules. I just assumed they would be the same as real life. Kubica has jumped Hulkenberg there. He's right ahead of Magnussen. So I'm going to just get him to push just a little bit so that he can try and stay ahead of these guys. Because I think this might be quite a crucial point in the race for Kubica to stay ahead of the likes of Magnussen and Hulkenberg. And Sirotkin carries on for another lap. I reckon at the end of this lap we can pit in. And I think we'd be able to make it towards the end. I think 26% tyre wear is absolutely fine. So we're going to pit Sirotkin now and slap him on a new set of the super softs. We won't recharge the battery, sorry, and we'll go for a fast pit stop. And then he can push into the pit lane. That'll be absolutely fine. So Kubica at the moment's looking all right. There's still a couple of people ahead of him that need to pit. Sirotkin, Ocon, Hartley need to pit again. Sainz, he should easily beat realistically in this race because Sainz is for sure on a two-stop. Meanwhile, Sirotkin's rounding the final corner. He's been pushing and he's gained 6/10 on this lap. So good in lap from Sergei Sirotkin as he tries to maybe get ahead of the likes of Verstappen and maybe into 16th place, but obviously he'll be on super soft so he can push a little bit harder and hopefully be quicker at the end of the race. Good pit stop from the guys. Looks as if he might be a bit higher than I predicted. He's out on to the track and he just stays ahead of the McLaren of Alonso. Frustratingly for the Spaniard, he's in P14 just behind Max Verstappen and Stoffel Van Dorn. I'll get him to carry on pushing for a lap as he goes up the inside of Verstappen there for P13. Checking on Kubica, he's on 57% tyre wear. That's not really ideal, so I think we're going to conserve on him just for a little bit in this race. Maybe even back up actually for a couple of laps. I feel like he can afford to do so. Sirotkin will drop down into neutral and medium. He has managed to get ahead of Stoffel Van Dorn, and the man ahead of him, Romain Grosjean, has got a mechanical issue. So it might be even worth putting him back up into high. Actually, no, not high, because he needs to save fuel drastically. We'll put him into maybe push rather than accentuating any issues as far as fuel is concerned. I think we'll also drop Kubica down into low fuel just whilst he's in this controlling element of the race. Because again, his delta is quite high. It's at 0.66. One lap, I reckon, on this setting, on low, and he should be okay to run neutral till the end of the race, probably. Meanwhile, Sirotkin, you can see, has dropped behind Stoffel Van Dorn. There's not actually that much between Sirotkin and Kubica in this race. They're only separated by 5 seconds at the moment out on track, which is impressive as far as Sirotkin is concerned, given he spent the first half of the race on soft tyres, in comparison to Kubica starting on the super softs. A couple of guys in the pit lane, Raikkonen and Sainz making their second stops of the day, so Kubica rises up to P6. Ahead of Magnussen, and Sirotkin is now up into P11 on the periphery of the points. Sirotkin has just jumped ahead of somebody. Oh, Sebastian Vettel's made a second pit stop. So that's promoted Kubica up into P5. Ocon is still leading this race on the mediums. So props to him, he's still doing bits, but that's obviously another position gain for Kubica. 43% tyre life, that's not all that much. For the amount of laps, he's got 7 laps to go. That's a long way, you know. It's a fine balance at the moment. While Sirotkin's stuck in this pack, I think we might as well go on low and low for him. Put him back onto medium as far as the fuel is concerned, because I don't want him to plummet through the order. He's got Fernando Alonso right on the back of him, and a very fast-moving Verstappen, and also Esteban Ocon, who's just come out on fresh super softs, and is now in P12. To be honest with you, I was mocking this strategy at the start as Sirotkin goes 3 wide, but the super soft and medium strategy might have been a good shout. The medium looked like an absolutely horrendous race tyre, but Esteban Ocon has made it work, for sure. And now he's up into P10. Alonso comes into the pit lane. So he's doing a second pit stop of the day. But yeah, man, I've misjudged this, I think. Not completely. I mean, it's not game over by any stretch of the imagination. Kubica's still going on 36% tyre wear, but it's going to be a struggle to get to the end for Robert. I'm not going to lie to you. He's still got quite a long way to go in this Grand Prix. I didn't realise the softs would wear out so quickly. He's been on conserve and backup like 80% of this stint. I'm not going to lie to you, and still, it doesn't look as if they're going to last the distance. We'll have to wait and see. Sirotkin is backing up, and he's still managed to get ahead of Stoffel Van Dorn up into P8, which is good. Grosjean is ahead of him with a slightly broken car and not the best tyre life either. To be honest with you, if Kubica ends up having to pit, a lot of others are going to have to pit as well. Ricciardo's only on 33%. Even Magnussen is on 37%, which, I mean, I don't know. I think everyone's going to struggle. I'm not going to lie. I think everyone's going to struggle here. Sirotkin has just dropped down into P10 because he's lost out to Ocon and Van Dorn. Van Dorn is pitting, I imagine, this lap. Yeah, Van Dorn's not going to make it. Sirotkin might, but even he's now on 40%. This is going to be a madness of a race. Back to Kubica, though. 28% tyre wear. He's got 4 laps to go. Can he make that work? It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult, and his tyre temps are horrible. His tyre temps are absolutely horrible right now. Kubica's somehow clinging on for dear life, though, to P4 right now. Ahead of Magnussen, ahead of Hülkenberg. I don't think Kubica can actually make this at all. I don't think he can. I actually don't think Kubica can make this. This is horrible. I so wish I'd just put him on mediums. It's only 2 laps, though. I tell you what, if we can serve for the entire... he's going to hit the cliff. Ricciardo's pitted. Ricciardo's bunned it. Ricciardo's fucked it. And I'm not being funny. Magnussen's got 24%. That's not even that much. It's a bit better, to be fair. It is a bit better. I can't lie to you. It's a bit better. Sirotkin's on 28%. I think we can afford to put him on conserve. I think he'll be fine. And then he can push for the final lap. But Kubica's going to reach the cliff when this lap starts. That's the crux of the problem. That's the crux of the problem. As far as Sirotkin is concerned, he's just been overtaken by Verstappen, who's on horrendous, absolutely horrendous mediums and has got a broken car. Well, we'll push on the final lap. In fact, we can push from now, to be honest. We can push from now. Actually, no, we'll go on to neutral and attack as far as Sirotkin is concerned. Kubica's now on 13%. Bro, if he makes this to the end, he's done an actual madness. If he makes this to the end, he's done an actual madness. That is unreal. He's actually stretched away from Magnussen. Kubica, are you a madman? He's stretched away from... guys, if we can make this last, we've got 2 podiums in a row. We're on 11% tyre wear. Fam, that's huge. Right, Sirotkin's going to push on this final lap. Actually, no, he's just going to go on to attack for now, and then we'll go on to push after that. Kubica's on 10%. Oh, no, Magnussen's coming. Magnussen's coming. We're going to lose this podium for sure. We're going to lose this podium for sure. Go on to overtake mode, Kubica. Give it all you've got. Magnussen's trying to go round him. Defend, Kubica. Oh, he's lost it. We should have, if we'd have just put him on mediums. If we'd have just put him onto the mediums. Kubica's dropped to 5th. He's got no tyres left. Bottas has won. Oh, what a travesty. In fact, Ricciardo came back to finish P5. Ricciardo pitted and made it work. Kubica's dropped to P7. Sirotkin's dropped out of the points. It's a tragic end to proceedings. Oh, it could have been so much more. It could have been so much more. Kubica, I mean, as far as Kubica is concerned, I have no qualms. That's my fault. I should have just put him onto the mediums and removed the risk, really, at the end of the race. He might have dropped behind Magnussen on pace, but Magnussen's tyre wear was so bad, I think he probably would have got it back again. We should have, that's my fault. Kubica is fine. That's absolutely my fault. Sirotkin, though, dropped from 9th to 16th on the final lap of the Grand Prix. But yeah, disappointing. Very disappointing. That could have been so much more. If we'd have just stuck him on the mediums, like the mediums clearly just weren't even that bad as a tyre compound. They clearly weren't actually that bad. So next time we've got to learn, be a little bit more conservative. When you're in that sort of position, just allow it. You know that the AI are going to have bad tyre wear. You've just got to, because Ocon made his mediums last 17 laps. Easy. It's a shame we got to learn from it, but it's still a decent points haul as far as Kubica is concerned. That is still a positive race. And that is 1 position still higher than where Kubica qualified. So if we're looking for, every cloud has a silver lining, he actually did do bits, I'm not going to lie to you. Worth noting, as far as the rules are concerned, both Gasly and Kimi Raikkonen completed the race with just using one set of tyres, same for Nico Hülkenberg, so the rule about using 2 tyre compounds does not exist in this save, so that's something to bear in mind. Something to remember, and in case we need it, yeah, that might well be helpful. But a solid 6 points, though, for Robert Kubica. It's not bad, every race has got to be about trying to score points, and we've grabbed a podium with Sirotkin in round number 1, and we've grabbed a P7 with Kubica in round number 2. That's 21 points. That's a pretty decent haul, I'm not going to lie to you. Not many teams in the midfield are going to score that many points across the season. I don't see Sauber or Toro Rosso scoring 21 points across the entirety of the season, and as you can see, that's what we've accumulated. 21 points so far. We're P4. It's very close though in the mid-table between Force India, Renault, Haas and McLaren. But it's Mercedes dominating things as it stands. So a frustrating end to something that could have been really incredible, but overall, still a very decent result. We came 6th in terms of the actual race weekend, and we're expected to finish 9th every race weekend on average. So we did a very decent job, another decent haul of points for the team, this time for Robert Kubica. But again, could have been a podium, messed it up as far as the strategy was concerned. We need to learn to be a little bit more conservative. This car isn't very good on its tyres, and you could tell we were conserving and we still weren't really catching up with the likes of Magnussen and Hülkenberg in terms of tyre life, but it's a lesson learnt, and hopefully we can come back stronger for round number 3 and gain even more points in this championship season. Bit of growth there for Sergei Sirotkin. Kubica is obviously 33, so he's not going to start gaining any on his stats right now, but yeah, decent enough. We've earned £3 million as well. That adds to the balance, and that can be spent now on improving the car next time around. So that though is going to round things up for this episode of the Motorsport Manager career mode here with Williams, and you know what? It's still been a positive episode. We messed it up. We're new to this series. It's a new experience, and sometimes you are just going to make these blunders. I've got to learn from it and hopefully make sure we make the right call when it comes to tyres. If you enjoyed this second episode, though, of the Motorsport Manager career mode with Williams, then slap a like on the video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. We'll be at Beijing, China next time around. Probably in between that, you might see a Strap to Glory episode. Again, thanks for the support on that one. The growth on the channel has been really cool recently, so glad you're enjoying the content being back on FNG Racing, and it's back to stay. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a great day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.
I want you, you want me, I know that. Oh shit, fuck all these movies with tenderness, that fit with too much emotion. Oh shit, she said love is a poison, so use it with caution. Oh shit, fuck all these movies with tenderness, that fit with too much emotion. I ain't fucking with these love songs, never, never.